Dr. Hagen Park moved quietly through the damaged section of Outpost 7. The air still smelled of smoke. She ran her scanner along the walls, checking for radiation leaks after yesterday's attack. The human section of the station had taken only minor damage, but Hagen wanted to be sure everything was safe. A small sound stopped her. It came from inside the wall. Hagen pressed her ear against the cool metal. There it was again, a soft scratching. Maybe some equipment had come loose in the attack. She found a maintenance panel and opened it. Inside was not broken equipment, but two bright yellow eyes staring back at her. Hagen jumped back, dropping her scanner. The eyes belonged to a child, not a human child, but an Orcs. The gray skin and sharp teeth were unmistakable. The child looked thin and afraid. "Hello there," Hagen said softly. "Are you hurt?" The Orcs child blinked at her, then looked down. Hagen noticed the blue mark on his neck. "I'm not hurt," the child said in common language. "Are you going to tell the others I'm here?" Hagen knelt down to be at eye level with the child in the vent. "My name is Dr. Hagen Park. I'm a xenobiologist. I study different alien species. What's your name?" "Taehyun," the child said, "son of Supreme Commander Kyungsu of the Orcs Dominion." Hagen tried not to show her surprise. Commander Kyungsu was one of the most feared Orcs leaders in the galaxy. His ships had attacked many peaceful worlds. "Are you hungry, Taehyun?" she asked. The child hesitated, then nodded once. He looked ready to run at any moment. "Wait here," Hagen said. She walked to her pack and took out a protein bar. She broke off a piece and offered it to the child. Taehyun took it carefully, sniffed it, then ate it quickly. "Why are you helping me?" he asked. The others wouldn't. "You're a child who needs help," Hagen said simply. "Come with me. We'll find you proper food and a safe place to rest." Taehyun crawled out of the vent slowly. He was small for an Orcs, with thin arms and legs. He looked around nervously. "My father's ship left without me," he said. "They thought I was too weak to save." Hagen felt a surge of anger at the cruelty, but kept her voice calm. "Well, I think you're very brave to have survived on your own." She led Taehyun through back corridors to avoid the main halls. When they reached the human section, she took him to the medical bay. The door opened to reveal Commander Dohyun reviewing reports on a screen. He looked up, his eyes widening at the sight of the Orcs child. "Hagen, what have you done?" he asked quietly. "Commander, this is Taehyun. He was abandoned during the attack. He needs our help." Dohyun stood up slowly, studying the child. "An Orcs. Commander Kyungsu's son, I assume, from the marking." Taehyun straightened his back and looked directly at the human commander, trying to appear strong despite his hunger and fear. "The station council will demand we turn him over," Dohyun said. "Turn me over to who?" Taehyun asked. "No one wants me." Hagen placed a gentle hand on the child's shoulder. "I'm asking for temporary asylum for him, Commander. Just until we figure out what to do." Dohyun rubbed his forehead. "The diplomatic fallout will be serious. The Marin trade delegation already filed a complaint about an Orcs being on the station." "He's a child," Hagen said firmly. Dohyun looked at Taehyun for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Get him food and clean clothes. Keep him in the human quarters for now." He turned to his computer and began typing. "I'll file the asylum paperwork." Within an hour, representatives from 7 different species arrived at the human sector, demanding to speak with Commander Dohyun. Their voices were loud and angry. "Harboring an Orcs is an act of war. You endanger the entire station. The humans have lost their minds." Inside the medical bay, Taehyun heard the shouts. He looked at Hagen with confusion. "Why do you help me when it causes you trouble?" he asked. Hagen smiled as she checked his vital signs on her medical scanner. "Because humans don't abandon children," she said, "no matter where they come from." For the first time in days, Taehyun felt something like hope. Dr. Hagen Park moved quietly through the damaged section of Outpost 7. The air still smelled of smoke. She ran her scanner along the walls, checking for radiation leaks after yesterday's attack. The human section of the station had taken only minor damage, but Heijin wanted to be sure everything was safe. A small sound stopped her. It came from inside the wall. Heijin pressed her ear against the cool metal. There it was again, a soft scratching. Maybe some equipment had come loose in the attack. She found a maintenance panel and opened it. Inside was not broken equipment, but two bright yellow eyes staring back at her. Heijin jumped back, dropping her scanner. The eyes belonged to a child, not a human child, but an Orcs. The gray skin and sharp teeth were unmistakable. The child looked thin and afraid. "Hello there," Heijin said softly. "Are you hurt?" The Orcs child blinked at her, then looked down. Heijin noticed the blue mark on his neck. "I'm not hurt," the child said in common language. "Are you going to tell the others I'm here?" Heijin knelt down to be at eye level with the child in the vent. "My name is Dr. Heijin Park. I'm a xenobiologist. I study different alien species. What's your name?" "Taehyun," the child said, "son of Supreme Commander Kyungsu of the Orcs Dominion." Heijin tried not to show her surprise. Commander Kyungsu was one of the most feared Orcs leaders in the galaxy. His ships had attacked many peaceful worlds. "Are you hungry, Taehyun?" she asked. The child hesitated, then nodded once. He looked ready to run at any moment. "Wait here," Heijin said. She walked to her pack and took out a protein bar. She broke off a piece and offered it to the child. Taehyun took it carefully, sniffed it, then ate it quickly. "Why are you helping me?" he asked. The others wouldn't. "You're a child who needs help," Heijin said simply. "Come with me. We'll find you proper food and a safe place to rest." Taehyun crawled out of the vent slowly. He was small for an Orcs, with thin arms and legs. He looked around nervously. "My father's ship left without me," he said. "They thought I was too weak to save." Heijin felt a surge of anger at the cruelty, but kept her voice calm. "Well, I think you're very brave to have survived on your own." She led Taehyun through back corridors to avoid the main halls. When they reached the human section, she took him to the medical bay. The door opened to reveal Commander Do-hyun reviewing reports on a screen. He looked up, his eyes widening at the sight of the Orcs child. "Heijin, what have you done?" he asked quietly. "Commander, this is Taehyun. He was abandoned during the attack. He needs our help." Do-hyun stood up slowly, studying the child. "An Orcs. Commander Kyungsu's son, I assume, from the marking." Taehyun straightened his back and looked directly at the human commander, trying to appear strong despite his hunger and fear. "The station council will demand we turn him over," Do-hyun said. "Turn me over to who?" Taehyun asked. "No one wants me." Heijin placed a gentle hand on the child's shoulder. "I'm asking for temporary asylum for him, Commander, just until we figure out what to do." Do-hyun rubbed his forehead. "The diplomatic fallout will be serious. The Marin trade delegation already filed a complaint about an Orcs being on the station." "He's a child," Heijin said firmly. Do-hyun looked at Taehyun for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Get him food and clean clothes. Keep him in the human quarters for now." He turned to his computer and began typing. "I'll file the asylum paperwork." Within an hour, representatives from 7 different species arrived at the human sector, demanding to speak with Commander Do-hyun. Their voices were loud and angry. "Harboring an Orcs is an act of war. You endanger the entire station. The humans have lost their minds." Inside the medical bay, Taehyun heard the shouts. He looked at Heijin with confusion. "Why do you help me when it causes you trouble?" he asked. Heijin smiled as she checked his vital signs on her medical scanner. "Because humans don't abandon children," she said, "no matter where they come from." For the first time in days, Taehyun felt something like hope. 2 weeks had passed since Taehyun came to live in the human section of the station. He sat at a table in the common room, watching Dr. Heijin work on her tablet. The humans had given him his own small room with a bed and clothes that fit him. They fed him 3 times a day. They spoke to him with soft voices. It made no sense to him. "Why are you looking at my brain again?" Taehyun asked as Haejin studied her screen. "Because it's very interesting," she said. "Your brain works differently than other Orcs' brains I've studied in my research." "Because I'm defective," Taehyun said flatly. "That's why my father left me." Haejin put down her tablet. "No, Taehyun, you're not defective. You're just different. Your brain can make new connections in ways other Orcs cannot." "Being different is being weak," Taehyun said. He had heard this all his life. "In Orcs' culture, maybe," Haejin said. "In human culture, being different can be valuable. It brings new ideas, new ways of solving problems." Taehyun frowned. This was not what he had learned about humans. His father had told him humans were clever but soft. They did not understand the way of the strong. The door opened and Security Officer Ju walked in. He was tall for a human, with hard eyes that always watched Taehyun closely. Ju did not like having an Orcs on the station, even a young one. "Training time," Ju said. "Commander's orders." Every day, Ju took Taehyun to the exercise room. The humans wanted to see what an Orcs child could do. Today, Ju set up a puzzle, a box with a treat inside that needed to be opened by solving a sequence. "Orcs don't play games," Taehyun said. "It's not a game. It's a test," Ju replied. "If you can't do it, I'll mark it down as a failure." Taehyun hated the word failure more than anything. He grabbed the box and studied it. Other Orcs would have tried to break it open with force. But Taehyun saw patterns in the moving parts. He turned it slowly, listening to the small clicks inside. In 2 minutes, the box opened. Ju's eyes widened slightly. "That's the fastest anyone has solved it." "Now can I train with real weapons?" Taehyun asked. "An Orcs my age should already know how to fight." "Absolutely not," said Haejin, who had followed them to the exercise room. "You're a child." "I am the son of a commander." Taehyun stood up, his small fists clenched. "You treat me like I'm weak." "We treat you like a child," Haejin said calmly. "Human children don't train with weapons." "I'm not human," Taehyun shouted. He knocked over the box in anger. "You keep me here, you feed me, but you don't respect me. You think I'm broken because I'm not like you." Ju stepped forward. "Watch your tone, cub." "Or what?" Taehyun bared his teeth, a natural Orcs threat display. "Will you abandon me too?" Everyone else did. The room went quiet. Taehyun felt shame rise in him. Orcs did not show emotions like this. But he wasn't a proper Orcs, was he? That's why his father left him. To his surprise, Haejin sat down next to him. "You're right, Taehyun. You're not human. We don't understand your culture fully, and you don't understand ours. We're trying to help you, but we're making mistakes." Her honesty surprised him. Orcs leaders never admitted mistakes. "How can I be strong here?" Taehyun asked quietly. "I don't know the rules." Haejin thought for a moment. "What if Engineer Minsu showed you how our systems work? Your brain might be good at understanding complex things." Ju frowned. "Giving an Orcs access to our systems. Commander Do-hyun won't approve." "I'll talk to him," Haejin said. She turned to Taehyun. "There are many kinds of strength, Taehyun. Your father only valued one kind. But humans see strength in understanding, in adapting, in connecting with others." Taehyun wasn't sure he believed her. But as he followed her out of the exercise room, he found himself wanting to try this human way, just to see if it worked. Maybe being different wasn't the same as being weak after all. Commander Do-hyun stared at the message on his screen with a deep frown. Around the meeting table, the other human officers watched his face grow darker. "It's confirmed," Do-hyun said finally. "Commander Kung-soo has put a bounty on our station." Engineer Minsu leaned forward. "A bounty? For what?" "For the return of his son," Do-hyun said. He looked up at the others. He claims we kidnapped Taehyun for research purposes. Dr. Haejin shook her head in disbelief. But he abandoned his own child. Everyone on the station saw the Orcs ships leave without him. Orcs never admit weakness, Security Officer Ju said. Saying he left his son behind would make Kyung-soo look weak. Saying we stole him makes Kyung-soo look like a wronged father. The door to the meeting room slid open. Taehyun stood there, his yellow eyes wide. He had heard everything. My father wants me back, he asked in a small voice. The humans exchanged looks. Haejin went to Taehyun and guided him to a chair. He claims to, she said gently. But we don't believe he truly does. He wants to save his reputation, Ju said bluntly. And he wants to punish us for helping you. Taehyun looked down at his hands. What will you do with me? Before anyone could answer, the station alarm sounded. Do-hyun rushed to the communication panel. 3 ships have just entered our sector, reported a voice. They're mercenary vessels. They're demanding we hand over the Orcs child. The humans moved quickly to their stations. Ju checked the security feeds while Min-soo ran system checks. Taehyun sat very still, watching them work. The station council is calling an emergency meeting, Do-hyun said after several tense minutes. They want all section representatives present. 2 hours later, Do-hyun returned from the meeting. His face was grim. The council voted to hand Taehyun over to the mercenaries, he announced. What? Haejin stood up in shock. They can't do that. He's under our protection. The vote was 12-1, Do-hyun said. Only the human representative voted against it. Taehyun felt his chest tighten. Even after all these weeks, no one but the humans wanted him. Everyone else saw him only as a danger. I should go, Taehyun said. I'm causing too much trouble for you. No, Haejin said firmly. We don't abandon children. Not ever. Do-hyun nodded. I've invoked an old human right of sanctuary. It's an ancient Earth custom that allows us to protect those who seek safety with us. And will the other species respect this human custom? Min-soo asked. They don't have to, Do-hyun replied. I've sealed off the human sector. No one enters without my permission. Ju checked his weapon. Those mercenaries won't care about human customs. They want the bounty. Then we'll be ready for them, Do-hyun said. He turned to Taehyun. This is your home now, whether they like it or not. Taehyun had never heard such words before. Home. The Orcs did not speak of homes, only territories and conquests. Why fight for me? He asked. I'm not worth a war. Haejin knelt in front of him. Every child is worth fighting for, Taehyun. That's what humans believe. Through the station windows, Taehyun could see the mercenary ships moving closer. They were big and heavily armed. The human section of the station was small in comparison. My father will kill you all, he whispered. He never loses. There's a first time for everything, Ju said. Despite his usual hardness, he placed a hand on Taehyun's shoulder. And humans are very good at being first. That night, as the station lights dimmed to night cycle, most non-human personnel began evacuating to other sections. They wanted nothing to do with the coming conflict. All abandoned the Predator's cub once again. Only humans stayed. Engineer Min-soo watched as Taehyun carefully connected 2 wires inside the open panel. The young Orcs had small, nimble fingers that were perfect for delicate work. Good, Min-soo said. Now close the circuit. Taehyun pressed the switch. The broken light panel flickered, then glowed steadily. He looked up at Min-soo with surprise. I fixed it, he said. You did, Min-soo smiled. You're learning fast. It had been 3 days since the mercenary ships arrived. They stayed just outside firing range, watching and waiting. Inside the sealed human sector, life went on. Min-soo had started teaching Taehyun basic repair skills to keep the boy's mind busy. In Orcs training, we learn to break things, Taehyun said as they walked to the next repair job. Never how to fix them. That seems wasteful, Minsu said. Orcs take what they need. They don't fix old things. Minsu handed Taehyun a small tool. Humans believe fixing is often better than replacing. It takes more skill to repair something than to destroy it. Taehyun thought about this as they worked. The humans were strange, but their ideas made sense in their own way. Later that day, Taehyun sat with Haejin in the medical bay. She showed him pictures of his brain scans. See these patterns? She pointed to colorful areas on the screen. Your brain makes connections in ways other Orcs don't. That's why you can learn new skills so quickly. Is that why my father called me defective? Taehyun asked. I think so, Haejin said gently. In Orc society, being different can be seen as dangerous, but humans value different ways of thinking. That night, Taehyun couldn't sleep. His head hurt and his skin felt hot. When he tried to get water, his legs wobbled and he fell to the floor. The next thing he knew, Haejin was lifting him onto a bed in the medical bay. Her face looked worried as she scanned him. His body temperature is too high, she told Commander Do-hyun. I think it's an infection, but I don't know enough about Oric's physiology to be sure. Will he? Do-hyun didn't finish the question. Haejin squeezed Taehyun's hand. I'll do everything I can. For 3 days, Taehyun burned with fever. Haejin rarely left his side. She tried different medicines, cooling packs, and special fluids. Nothing seemed to work. Through the haze of fever, Taehyun heard the humans talking. If he dies, the mercenaries will leave, someone said. That's not why we're helping him, Haejin answered sharply. I know, the voice said. It was Ju. I'm just stating facts. He's not going to die, Haejin said. Not while I'm here. In his fevered dreams, Taehyun saw his father turning away from him. He saw the other aliens backing away in fear. But the humans stayed. They always stayed. On the 4th day, the fever broke. Taehyun opened his eyes to see Haejin asleep in a chair beside his bed. Her hand was still holding his. Dr. Haejin, he whispered. She woke instantly. Taehyun, how do you feel? Better, he said. You stayed with me. Of course I did, she said, checking his temperature. Even though I might have died. Especially because you might have died, she said. No one should be alone when they're sick and afraid. Taehyun felt something strange in his chest, a warm feeling he didn't recognize. Later, Commander Do-hyun and the others came to see him. Even Ji-woo seemed relieved that he was better. The mercenaries are still out there, Do-hyun told him. But we've been working on a plan. Minsu thinks we can escape on the research vessel if we time it right. You would leave the station because of me? Taehyun asked. We would leave to protect you, Minsu explained. This station isn't safe anymore. Taehyun looked at each of the humans. They had fed him, taught him, healed him, and now they would leave their home for him. No Orcs would ever do such things. I think I understand now, Taehyun said slowly. Understand what? Haejin asked. Why humans are different. He touched his chest, where the warm feeling grew. You have something in here that Orcs don't have. What's that? Do-hyun asked. Taehyun searched for the right word. Connection. To each other. Even to me. Haejin smiled. Yes, humans call that many things. Compassion. Empathy. Sometimes, love. Taehyun nodded. These were new words to him, but he was beginning to understand their power. The main screen in the Human Command Center lit up with an incoming message. Commander Do-hyun motioned for everyone to be quiet as he accepted the transmission. A harsh face appeared on the screen. The mercenary captain was a large reptilian alien with dark scales and small eyes. Human Commander, the mercenary said, this is Captain Vorg of the Hunter's Pride. My patience is at its end. Do-hyun stood tall. What do you want, Captain? You know what I want. The Oryx cub. Commander Kung-soo has doubled the bounty. Hand over the child, and we will leave peacefully. Taehyun stood behind Haejin, out of view of the screen. His heart beat fast in his chest. "And if we refuse?" Do-hyun asked. The mercenary captain smiled, showing sharp teeth. "Then in 12 hours, we will board your station and take him by force. Any who stand in our way will die." The screen went dark. "He's not bluffing," Ju said. "Those ships have enough firepower to cut through our defenses." Do-hyun turned to the others. "We need to speed up our evacuation plan." "Minsu, is the research vessel ready?" "Almost," Minsu said. "But there's a problem. The main docking bay is being watched. We can't launch without them seeing us." "What about the emergency pods?" Haejin asked. "Too small for all of us," Ju said, "and too slow to outrun those ships." Taehyun had been quiet, listening to the humans talk. Now he stepped forward. "I know something that might help," he said. Everyone turned to look at him. "About Orcs ships and mercenary tactics." "What do you know?" Do-hyun asked gently. "My father never told me military secrets," Taehyun said. "But I used to hide and listen. My brain remembers things others don't notice." For the next hour, Taehyun told the humans everything he could remember about Orcs ships, their blind spots, and how mercenaries worked for them. He drew diagrams and explained attack patterns. "Remarkable," Minsu said when Taehyun finished. "This could work. If we time our launch with their sensor sweep cycle, we might slip past them." "It's still risky," Ju said, "but better than waiting for them to board." As the humans prepared, most of the remaining non-human staff on the station left on small transport ships. They wanted no part in the coming conflict. By evening, only the human crew remained. Taehyun found Haejin in the medical bay, packing essential supplies. "Why don't you give me to them?" he asked. "It would be safer for all of you." Haejin stopped her work and looked at him. "Taehyun, do you know what would happen if we gave you back to your father?" Taehyun nodded slowly. "He would kill me for being defective. Or worse, he would try to fix me. And we can't let that happen," Haejin said. "Not just because we care about you, but because it's wrong to hand anyone over to be hurt or killed, even if it puts you in danger." "Even then," she said firmly, "that's what humans do. We protect those who need protection." That night, as the humans made final preparations, an alarm sounded. Jiwoo's voice came over the communication system. "They're moving in early. All crew to battle stations." Commander Do-hyun rushed to the command center. The screen showed the 3 mercenary ships breaking formation, moving to surround the station. "They're not waiting for their ultimatum to expire," Minsu said. "They're attacking now." "Get to the research vessel," Do-hyun ordered. "We're leaving immediately." As they rushed through the corridors, the station shook with the first impact. The mercenaries were firing warning shots, hitting non-critical areas. "They want to scare us into surrendering," Ju said, checking his weapon. Taehyun ran alongside the humans. For the first time in his life, he felt part of something. These humans were risking everything for him. Not because he was strong or important, but simply because they believed it was right. As they reached the docking bay, another explosion rocked the station, harder than before. The lights flickered and went out. They'd hit the power core, Minsu shouted over the emergency sirens. In the red glow of the emergency lights, Taehyun saw the humans looking at each other. Their plan was falling apart, but still, not one of them suggested giving him up to save themselves. The emergency lights cast long shadows as Commander Do-hyun led the group through the shaking station. Their path to the research vessel was blocked by fallen debris. "We need another way to the docking bay," Do-hyun said. Taehyun looked at the station map on the wall. His eyes traced the lines quickly. "Here," he pointed. "We can go through the maintenance tunnels." "Good thinking," Minsu said. He pried open a panel in the wall, revealing a narrow tunnel. The humans crawled through one by one, with Taehyun in the middle. The tunnel was tight for the adults but perfect for Taehyun's small body. He could hear the station groan as the mercenary ships continued their attack. When they reached the central hub, They found sparking panels and broken glass. The station's systems were failing. "We're almost there," Do-Yun said. "The docking bay is just past the next section." Suddenly, a loud bang echoed through the corridor. The far door slid open. 3 armed figures stepped through, mercenaries in heavy armor. "Get down," Ju shouted, pushing Tae-hyun behind a fallen beam. The other humans took cover as the mercenaries opened fire. They'd boarded the station. Min-soo yelled over the noise. Ju fired back, keeping the mercenaries at bay. "Commander, get the others to the ship. I'll hold them here." Commander Do-Yun nodded. "Haejin, Min-soo, take Tae-hyun and go." Tae-hyun felt Haejin pulling him away, but he couldn't move. He was watching the control panel on the wall next to them. Something about it caught his attention, the way it connected to the station's systems. "Wait," he said. "I can help." Before Haejin could stop him, Tae-hyun ran to the panel and pulled off the cover. Inside was a mess of wires and circuitry. "Tae-hyun, get back," Haejin called. But Tae-hyun's mind was racing. He saw connections that others didn't see. His fingers moved quickly, rearranging wires and pressing sequences on the panel. "What are you doing?" Min-soo asked, crouching beside him. "Helping," Tae-hyun said. His eyes were focused, his mind clear. "My brain works differently, remember." The panel lit up. Across the hub, the doors suddenly closed, trapping the mercenaries in the corridor. The lights flickered, then changed to a blinding flash that Tae-hyun had programmed to affect only that section. "I redirected the emergency protocols," Tae-hyun explained. "The station thinks there's a hull breach in that section." "That's amazing," Min-soo said. "How did you know how to do that?" "I watched you work on the systems. I remembered everything," Tae-hyun said. The group continued toward the docking bay, but as they turned the corner, they found more mercenaries waiting. "Down," Ju shouted, pushing Tae-hyun aside as a bolt of energy shot past. The bolt hit Ju in the shoulder. He fell to the ground with a cry of pain. Tae-hyun stared in shock. Ju had protected him. Ju, who had never fully trusted him, who had always kept his distance. Commander Do-Yun and Min-soo fired back, forcing the mercenaries to take cover. Haejin rushed to Juwoo's side, pressing her medical kit against his wound. "Is he going to die?" Tae-hyun asked, his voice small. "Not if I can help it," Haejin said, working quickly. "But we need to get him to the ship." Tae-hyun looked at Juwoo's face, tight with pain. Something stirred inside him, a feeling he had never felt before. An Orcs was taught to leave behind the wounded, to see them as weak. But Tae-hyun felt something else. He felt sad, worried. He wanted Juwoo to live. "I'm sorry," Tae-hyun said to Juwoo. "You got hurt because of me." Juwoo looked at him through pain-filled eyes. "Not because of you, kid. For you. There's a difference." Before Tae-hyun could answer, the ship's communication system crackled to life. "Attention station personnel. This is Sub-Commander Yuna of the Orcs Dominion. Clear the docking area immediately. I am preparing to board." Everyone froze. Another Orcs ship had arrived. And not just any ship, one commanded by Tae-hyun's aunt, his father's sister. "She's come to claim you," Do-Yun said quietly. "No," Haejin said, standing protectively in front of Tae-hyun. "We won't let her take you." Tae-hyun looked at these humans, tired, wounded, afraid, but still standing with him, for him. And in that moment, he knew what he had to do. The docking bay doors opened with a hiss. Commander Do-Yun and his team took defensive positions, with Juwoo propped against a wall, his weapon ready despite his injury. Haejin stood in front of Tae-hyun, her body a human shield. Through the doors walked a tall female Orcs. Sub-Commander Yuna had the same gray skin and sharp teeth as Tae-hyun, but her eyes were darker, more intense. 4 armed Orcs soldiers followed her. "Lower your weapons," Yuna said to her soldiers. Then she looked at the humans. "I come to talk, not fight." Talk. Do-hyun didn't lower his weapon. While mercenary ships attack our station. Those ships are not mine, Yuna said. I have ordered them to stop their attack. They did not listen. She focused her gaze on Tae-hyun. Is this my brother's child? Tae-hyun stepped forward, despite Haejin trying to hold him back. I am Tae-hyun, son of Commander Kyung-soo. Yuna studied him. You have your mother's eyes. The humans exchanged confused looks. This was not the violent confrontation they had expected. Why are you here? Do-hyun asked. To find my nephew, Yuna said. She looked around at the damaged station, and it seems I arrived just in time. My father sent bounty hunters to find me, Tae-hyun said. He wants me back. Your father no longer commands the Orcs fleet, Yuna said. There has been a change in leadership. This news shocked everyone, especially Tae-hyun. What happened? He asked. Kyung-soo made too many enemies, Yuna explained. His attack on this station was not authorized. When he abandoned you, many saw it as a sign of weakness. The Dominion Council stripped him of his rank. Min-soo looked skeptical. And you're now in charge. I command this ship, Yuna said. And I have authority to bring Tae-hyun home. No, Haejin said firmly. He stays with us. Yuna raised an eyebrow. You humans would fight an Orcs warship to protect an Orcs child. We already have, Ju said through gritted teeth, his wounded shoulder still bleeding. Yuna looked at each human in turn, then back to Tae-hyun. You have found loyal protectors, nephew. They stayed when everyone else left, Tae-hyun said. They helped me when no one else would. Something soft crossed Yuna's face, an expression unusual for an Orcs, like your mother would have done. The mention of his mother caught Tae-hyun's attention. You knew my mother well. She was my friend, Yuna said. She saw the flaws in our ways. She believed our future depended on change, not conquest. Is that why you're really here? Commander Do-hyun asked, not to return him to the Dominion. Yuna hesitated, then nodded. Tae-hyun carries a genetic variation that is rare among our people. Your father called it a defect, but it is actually an advancement. His brain works differently, Haejin said. He can make connections others can't see. Yes, Yuna agreed. This trait appears in one Orcs child in 1,000. In the past, such children were. She paused. They were eliminated. Tae-hyun felt cold. Because they were weak. Because they threatened the old order, Yuna corrected. Children like you question. You see patterns. You adapt. The Dominion fears such traits because they bring change. The station shook again as another explosion hit nearby. The mercenaries are still attacking, Min-soo said. They won't stop until they have the child, Yuna said, or until they believe he is dead. What are you suggesting? Do-hyun asked. I can take Tae-hyun on my ship, Yuna said. There is a faction among the Orcs who want reform. We have hidden others like him. He will be safe with us. And we should trust you because, Ju asked. Because I could have boarded with 100 soldiers, Yuna said. Instead, I came with 4 and offered to talk. It's true, Tae-hyun said slowly. She's different from my father. Haejin knelt beside Tae-hyun. What do you want to do, Tae-hyun? The choice should be yours. Tae-hyun looked at the humans who had protected him, taught him, and cared for him. Then he looked at his aunt, who offered a connection to his own kind, a way to understand himself and his place in the universe. I want, he began, but another explosion cut off his words. This one was much closer. We're out of time, Do-hyun said. Those mercenaries have breached the inner hull. We need to decide now. 6 months had passed since the attack on the space station. Tae-hyun stood on the observation deck of Earth's main orbital station, gazing down at the blue planet below. The sight still amazed him every time. Beautiful, isn't it? Dr. Haejin asked, joining him at the window. Very different from Orcs worlds, Tae-hyun said. We live mostly on rocky planets with thin air. Nothing is this. Blue. Heijin smiled. Are you ready for the ceremony today? Taehyun nodded, feeling nervous but excited. Today he would become the first Orcs to receive human citizenship. The event would be broadcast across Earth and to many other worlds. He thought back to the day they had escaped the station. In those final moments, as mercenary ships closed in, Taehyun had made his choice. He would go with his aunt Yuma to learn about his heritage and the reform movement among his people. But he had asked for one thing, that Heijin and the other humans come too. To everyone's surprise, Yuma had agreed. The humans were given safe passage on her ship. Juhu's injuries were treated in the Orcs medical bay. The mercenaries, seeing Yuna's warship, had retreated rather than face a superior force. During the journey that followed, something unexpected happened. The humans and Yuna's Orcs began to talk, to share ideas. Commander Dohyun and Sub-Commander Unit discovered they had similar views on many things, including peace between their peoples. Taehyun, a voice broke into his thoughts. He turned to see Engineer Minsu approaching, followed by Security Officer Juhu, who now walked with a slight limp from his healed wound. Your new clothes fit well, Minsu said, looking at Taehyun's formal Earth attire, a suit adjusted to fit his Oric's form. I feel strange in them, Taehyun admitted. You look dignified, Juhu said. The once suspicious security officer now treated Taehyun with respect. Their shared experience had changed them both. Commander Dohyun entered the room, accompanied by Sub-Commander Yuna. Both wore their formal uniforms, representing their respective peoples. It's time, Dohyun said. The Earth Council is ready. They walked together to the main hall. Hundreds of humans and a small group of Orcs waited there. At the front stood the Earth Council members, ready to perform the citizenship ceremony. As Taehyun walked down the center aisle, he saw the faces watching him. Some looked curious, others nervous. The Orcs had been feared for generations, yet here he was, about to become one of them. Taehyun, son of the Orcs people, the council leader said, do you freely choose to accept citizenship of Earth and all the responsibilities it carries? I do, Taehyun said clearly. I choose to be both Orcs and human in my heart. The leader placed a small pin on Taehyun's collar, the Earth symbol that marked him as a citizen. Then we welcome you as the first of your kind to join our world. Applause filled the room. Heijin wiped a tear from her eye. She was officially his guardian now, the adoption papers signed and approved. Later, at the reception, representatives from other species approached Taehyun. Many were from the same groups that had once abandoned him on the station. We wish to understand, said a Moran trader, how these humans saw value where we saw only danger. They stayed when everyone left, Taehyun explained simply. They protected me not because I was useful or strong, but because they believed every child deserves care. In the months that followed, more changes came. Yuma and Dohyun established the first official diplomatic channel between humans and the reform-minded Orcs. Other Orcs children with Taehyun's special abilities were brought to Earth to learn and grow freely. And across the galaxy, people began to speak of the strange humans who had risked everything for an enemy's child. One evening, as Taehyun sat with Heijin in their Earth home, watching the sunset, he asked a question that had been on his mind. When all others abandoned me, why did humans stay? Heijin thought for a moment. Because seeing the worth in all life is what makes us human. Taehyun nodded. This was the lesson he would carry forward, the gift the humans had given him. Not just a home or safety, but a new way of seeing the universe and his place in it. He was no longer just the predator's cub. He was a bridge between worlds.